Welcome to Monkey and Frank. My name is Do and my body is Dom. And today I've got Rahat, my soul brother, to join me in this episode. How are you doing, Rahat?
Hey, Doe, I'm doing very well. Very
Nice.
pleased to be here with you.
I'm so excited. So excited. So the first thing, if you don't mind, we're just going to jump right into it. Is there anything that's off limit?
Uh, I was thinking about that. Maybe not mention the substance itself, the name of
Of
the
course.
substance.
Yeah, no,
Just referring it to as like altered states of consciousness. Other than
100%.
that, nothing.
Perfect. So the first question that I've got for you is, in an altered state of mind or whatever, have you ever experienced a bad trip? And if so, would you mind sharing?
Absolutely. Now, it's all just language, right? So to me, a trip can be bad, but later on, when you reflect on it, you realize that you're just grateful for having experienced it. So the very first trip I had, all the way back in 2017, it was I did no research going into it though, and I hear a lot of folks these days they'll do research for years before even trying it. Whereas in my case, I had no idea what this thing was, and I just got into it feet first. And when my personality started to peel away, I was terrified. So you could call that as being part of a bad trip because I was like, uh-oh, what did I what did I do here? It was like jumping into quicksand. Like I can't undo this now. Like my personality is being peeled away layer by layer. So that was very terrifying, man. And the worst is I had a pretty good sitter, and I hate using that word by the way. It's just a friend. Like that's all it is. And he was really good. The only thing he didn't tell me was that I was going to come back for some reason or whatever. He should have told me that, hey, this thing lasts whatever 5 or 6 hours, not more. So you will start to return. But for whatever reason, he didn't tell me that. And I was thinking, man, I must have permanently gone crazy. Like, what are people going to think of me when I can't function. Like, this is really weird. So it was all bad. So to me, that was a bad trip. But should I elaborate a bit more how it became good, or do you
Of
want
course.
me to stop there?
No, 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 no. Please elaborate.
Okay, so it started out bad, right? Like, I mean, of course, this is weird, but at the same time, man, something really cool happened, which is I was discovering these insights, and one of them was that you're immortal now. That yeah, this is crazy, but hey, why do you give a fuck? Why do you? Can we swear, by the way, here?
Of course, of course.
Okay, okay. I don't know, like if it's meant for like family or I don't. So it was like, man, what the fuck? Like it's I'm feeling bad, but it's actually okay to be like this. You can't be in this state forever now. That it's fine. Why do you care about the humans? Just be with us. It's have a party. It's like so, I mean, and so in that way it wasn't that scary. And that was those guys were helping me. Those whatever those and I mean that if I describe those things, that's another uh you're right. But I'll keep it to the bad trip part. So I feel like that was kind of helping me understand that it's not so bad after all. And after the peak experience, when I started to calm down, then I started to feel wonderful. Like, whoa, whatever just happened, like I just died and I'm reborn again. How cool is that? How much more appreciative should I be of like all my fellow human beings now? Like everything I've taken for granted thus far. It's kind of swell to be like a human man. Like this is cool. And after that, it became awesome. So without the bad man, it wouldn't have been as good, and it wouldn't have changed me to be the person I am today if it hadn't been that bad, if that makes sense.
Of
So
course. And coming
yeah.
into it, how was your state of mind? Were you a person that was very productive, happy in your life? Like, what was your state of mind going into it?
Oh, I was happy, but I was conditioned, man. It was, you know. the culture I come from, it's Asian. Like I'm not sure if you ever heard of the parent, tiger parent, they call them in Asia. They're like super strict and they want you to do good. And it kind of had conditioned me to always like perform and have a schedule. And not that there's anything wrong with that. You should, but you shouldn't have to please anyone in life, man. Like you should just be able to live your life and not be worried about appreciation or whatever. So I was very conditioned to have like all these expectations out of myself. So I was very hardwired to think, to be
Yeah,
very OCD about it. So
I see.
that was my frame of mind going into it. Going out of it, it's man, changed some things.
And you were able to keep you were able to keep that experience going for a long period of time, or did you revert back to your old kind of super high pressure self of
Man,
kind of judging yourself?
that's such a good question, man. You're pro at this. Like, I don't know if you've like listed all these questions before, but it's So I thought about this, man. It's Do you know the five personality traits, the big five? Like, it's one of them is like neuroticism, one of them is consciousness. I pronounced that wrong. Whatever. It's just about like having value, being
Yeah,
serious. The other one's like being nice, agreeableness. The other one's openness, and I forget the last one. But when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah.
openness, I feel like it changed me forever. So when I came out of it, I was more open. And I'll give you an example. Like previously, I used to laugh at guys who used to like do tarot or crystal ball, all that kind of voodoo stuff. But post trip, it changed me forever. Now I'll give anyone a shot. Like anyone who tells me a story, like even if it sounds crazy, I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna have a good time doing it too.
Can relate so much to what you're saying because of
Yeah.
the same way. Like a year ago, I used to be so judgmental, and now I've got such an open mentality. That is so cool. I wanted to know about those spirits because that's one thing I've never experienced yet in an altered state of mind is really having an other, like really an other guiding me or telling me kind of knowledge. It's always been my inner monologue or my ego or yeah,
Wow. The, just to be sure, did you use the word spirits there?
yeah.
Spirits? Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to
Well,
be. Yeah.
well, I
I'm
mean, I
trying
don't
to.
know. I want you to tell me like what it felt
Yes.
like. Those other were they spirit like to you? Like I'm
Mm,
sure you had an impression of,
mm,
mm, you know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. No. I just wanted to start out by being fair to the word. If that is what it was, I'm thinking. I don't think it was. You could. Hmm, give me a second here to gather my thoughts. So
Yeah,
it was like it wasn't my monologue, no, because it was reality unfolding before my eyes. The Whatever I was getting, it was the truth, as true as like drinking water out of a cup. It was as true as that. I was seeing. It was like it was just knowing, like when you know something, you just it's not. It's more powerful than your intuition, basically. It's like, 2 + 2 = 4. It's kind of something like that. So I don't know if it was the spirits telling me or not, but it wasn't the monologue either. And it is a good question because who was telling me? Because logic tells you that someone has to tell you, right? Someone has to tell me that. But
yeah,
I'll tell you this though. Uh, there were these um, there were these three little like very short type of entities, and but I got a different lesson out of them. I didn't get the immortality part out of them. They were telling me they had like cleared so much space for me, and that was kind of cool. Like it was like whatever those guys were, man, they were like waiting for me all this time. So when I so it was just yeah, it's the messages come in form of feelings. That's the thing. And like normally I'm not a very like emotional person. Uh uh I tend to not be that way, but the funny thing is in that state, the best way to articulate something is in terms of feelings. And that's the feeling I got at that time that, man, these guys have been holding space for me for so long. And it was just like, it was like I was giggling too. Yeah. Like at the same time, it was like kind of funny. And all of the seriousness, like I told you earlier about, it had completely vanished. It had dropped. And it was just so And so those three little guys, you could say are the like the closest to the spirit. But other than that, it wasn't really anyone. It was just knowing, just the knowing part, like how this is the truth because it's making sense to me, just as like maths make sense to me, like 2 + 2 = 4. It's kind of like that, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so there's two questions here. So the other one is the first question is, so did you have a knowing of how they looked like, or did you you could see them in your imagination when you would close your eyes, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I had no expectations going in. So I'm trying to think. Uh, it's so hard to answer these because
Right.
it's like, people, like I've read this, that what they'll tend to do is whatever their cultural imprints are, or whatever they're thinking about at the time psychologically, it'll come up in the trips. And so if this is
Yeah.
true, then which means those guys were just that, and that's the end of story. But if that's not true, if you
Yes.
don't want to believe that story, then no, I actually had no idea what they looked like. They just appeared. And yes, I believe closing my eyes helped, but even opening my eyes, I would say just going into deep meditation while tripping, it was like these three little guys. And if you're interested, if you ever watched the cartoon Courage and the Cowardly Dog, there's
No.
yeah, well, I could give you a reference, but that's yeah, it's like a little fetus. And it was one of the episodes, it was like it was a bizarre cartoon. Like it was a child's cartoon, childish, but
Yeah.
sometimes they'd be kind of dark too, like just out of the like if you remember Cartoon Network back in the days, they had some pretty dark shit. I can't
Oh yeah.
believe they put it on TV, but it was like one of those episodes. So they just cut the screen and they showed this little fetus with one arm, and it was like a short broccoli type, like it looks like the vegetable like broccoli, very short. It was like that. Now,
That is so
why
cool.
did it appear to me that way? That I can't tell you. Why? Why? That is what it was.
Well,
Yeah.
it's almost like your reality, is created by you. You know that thing that they keep saying that you create your own reality, and whatever you project on the outside, then it kind of showed it to you in that
Mm.
altered state of mind. That, and the way you said it too is really interesting. Is as if those three beings have always been there for you, giving you space to what to create, to think, to be patient, to be the Rahat that is full of love that I know? Like what kind of space did you feel that they were giving you, and what was that space meant for?
Oh man, this is I can't believe you're doing this, by the way. This is some, I feel like we're talking about the deepest of like human emotions and all that. But
Yeah, is that okay?
yeah, no, it's totally fine. I just having a it's man, the world has changed, huh? Like everything's
Yeah,
going changing
100.
so fast. People are making podcasts about this. It's just amazing. It blows my mind. But yes, it was like those guys had always been there for me. I just hadn't my senses hadn't opened up. Like they have a lot of terms for this, right? Like, and if you study religion, like the third eye or whatever.
Yeah,
Not necessarily I believe that, but I'm just using that example. So it's kind of like something had dropped, like the veil had kind of lifted, and I was seeing them. And again, like what you, man, I was feeling, but whatever the way you post that question, I was really feeling it. Like you said that, yeah, there were that the, yeah, they knew like the goodness in me more than I knew that I could be. They knew this information all along for like, by the way, thousands of years. So that's even more spooky, right? It's not just my lifetime or whatever. Like these guys, they they had figured it all out. They knew more about me than I did, and yet they wouldn't show themselves to me. They only did when I was in that altered state of consciousness. Only then they chose to appear and reveal themselves to me, or maybe I created them, or whoever, or whatever it was. It was that type of relationship, and it was kind of yeah. It was funny too. Like I said, it was like so cool. Like they had cleared out so much space. I didn't even know it all existed. Like they cleared the furniture, they put the couches to the side, everything, and in the middle it was like a huge ring. Like we just chilled. It was amazing. Yeah.
I know that, and the reason why I'm digging deeper, it's like in a way I'm trying to. to find, I guess because I've never had that experience of the other, right? The closest that I've been is with my daughter. I feel like my daughter is a guide for me, like somebody that is somewhat giving me a chance to get like to create space in my life to take a breath, to love, to create this self-love. And it's crazy how like this reality is showing me. And I really feel like from the bottom of my soul that she's seeing something in me that of course I'm not saying. And it could be the father effect, right? I'm the father. So, but it's more than that. Like there's something about it that is so spiritual and so great. And
Hmm.
like I said, the reason why I was digging for you is like it's speaking to me so much on that, like creating space for yourself, creating, but to also have
Hmm.
like something greater that does like that's always helping you to create that space is something so freaking magical.
Yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely, man. And that's so cool. Like, like you mentioned your daughter. It could be anyone, right? Uh,
right,
the human energy, I think it's underestimated often. It's just amazing. Especially like in the COVID times, we're kind of more isolated, right? But when we hang out with others, it's just creates an energy field, I feel, and they just become happier for whatever reason. It's just, but and by the way, I really appreciate you probing me. This is just this is what I like doing. I'm just amazed that and I don't know what that says about me. I have a bad habit though of always like psychoanalyzing myself like as I go on, like why why am I the way I am? But we all are, right? It's just we are what we are. Yeah.
well, from my experience around you anyways, is whatever like what you just called a bad habit, for me I called like it's something so beautiful inside of you that is always making me reflect like at a deeper level. So, I mean, I don't want to encourage you to change your language, but I would encourage you like it's not a like
Mm,
I don't think it's stopping you from growing, you know, that
mm.
thing that you do. I think it's actually beneficial. So, I don't know, it's a good habit to me, but tell me why did you just call it a bad habit, if you don't mind?
Oh, I see. Hey, you're right on the money. You're right on the money. It's oh boy, this is gonna hurt a little, a sting for me, but it because I was always criticized, and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, I hear you. I do the same.
I yeah, it's I'm very it's bringing up a lot of sadness, but it's okay because I've forgiven everybody. Uh,
And
it's it
I hear,
they couldn't help themselves, and that's why they did it. And uh,
and it's funny because while you're processing your emotions right now, it's almost like you're helping me process. Well, no, you are super helping me process my emotions because I feel the same way. Like me telling you, like, hey, why did you just call this a bad habit? Is making me feel so many things like, hey, Dom, like, or yeah, Dom, because I call Do my soul and Dom is the body. And it's like, hey, Dom, like, why do you do that for this? Why do you do that for that? And it applies so much in my life.
yeah,
Um,
no, it's good that you did though. No, I'm really grateful that you did because it's the truth, and I'm not scared of it, man. You know,
yeah, exactly.
but I'm gonna be positive anyway. Like we were friends in real life, so I told you earlier, like I choose to live with honor with everything. So you kind of know this, but yeah, it is what it is,
100%.
and it's amazing that even you asking that question just on me almost brought me to the verge of tears. But hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. I won't do it, and that's okay.
But even if you would cry, wouldn't that be something beautiful?
Oh, I have before, but it's
Okay.
like then what? Like am I can be just concerned with myself all the time. I have to like of course, help myself. But after I'm done processing, like what's there left to do? I have to help others too, right? And I can't help others if I'm weak myself. Does that make sense? It's kind of it.
Ah, yo, dude, it makes sense 100% because that's the answer I was trying to find my all today is I feel like I've got the inability to cry, to as if kind of to let it go. But you bring up a better point, like the point of like a purpose of helping. Like, do you feel like you have a purpose of helping? The way you were talking there, it's almost like you're here to help. Is that something that you feel called for?
I would say so, man, because like I get a lot of satisfaction out of my career. I went to school for marketing, and I do that like as a career,
Right.
and it's good and everything. But I feel like to are you aware of the Maslow's pyramid of needs? Like it's a hierarchy.
No,
So at the very
no, please.
you're cutting up. Could you repeat that though, please?
Yeah, no, I just wanted you to
Okay, yeah,
elaborate.
sure. So at the
Yeah.
base of the pyramid is just basic needs, food, sex, shelter, and a step after that is like uh what was it? It was like clothing. But you get the idea. It's like from starting from very essential needs, but at the top of the pyramid is self-actualization. So I think in most people's career, what we go to school for, or whatever trading school or whatever experiences we gather from work and use that to build ourselves, that still doesn't get us to the self-actualized part because we're still kind of either we chose that path because of pressure, peer pressure, parental pressure, someone told us to, we just good hustlers, whatever. We just chose that and we quickly found a way, right, to survive. But that isn't, it's one of, it's my theory, it's a theory of mine. That still isn't our true purpose. And like Hinduism says that if you don't find your true purpose, then you're going to be born again and again just to learn your lessons. And the quicker you find your purpose, you can align yourselves like to dharma, and you can be totally like in flow, and then your life will be sweet, like without a problem at all. So for me, like it's cool. I just had this conversation earlier with a friend, and we were talking about purpose, and we kind of got to the point of like, what is our each like what is our purposes and what are our purposes and I said that I would really like to impart the message to others that just to be grateful, you know? Now, what does that mean for me? Does it,
Yeah.
should I commercialize? Should I start commercializing? Because if I do, I can actually reach more people. Like if I set up a business or whatever, I can give this message to more people. But then that would also mean me earning money from it. So that's something I've been recently thinking about, like what to do, you know? But your question was like, if I've thought about my purpose, I have. And currently it might change in the future, but as of today, March 22nd, 2021, I think like if it would be something I would like to tell people about like uh all these things I'm learning after my uh experiences with other states of consciousness, like all the research that I do in Hinduism. I just want to give this be like the bridge between because I know a lot of people are busy. They don't, you know, like they don't take the time to like research all the religions and stuff, or maybe they find it very dogmatic. But maybe I could show them like yeah, it's actually not that dogmatic. It's just uh it's the fact that these guys they've been on these experiences before, like thousands of years before us, and they have lessons to give us. So we can there's a lot to learn from them. And one of the biggest learnings is just of course just being grateful with whatever card you're given and building yourself. But you need honor for that. If you if you it's good to be emotional, but uh to break it all down basically. Sometimes you need that. You need that cathartic release, right? You need to cry and stuff. I get that. And I do that, I would say. But that can't to me that can't be your constant state every day or so because boy, it's gonna yeah,
Yeah,
saying the truth uh can sometimes yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm when but yeah, does that answer your question? I don't know. You're asking really good questions, so it's making me give long answers. Yeah.
dude, don't ever be sorry. What you're doing right now is it's absolutely magical because I wanted the next question I wanted to ask you as you were speaking is how can you bring religion into your meaning, and you just brought it in by yourself. And as you were speaking, it totally reminded me of our experience that we had
mm,
together with an altered state of mind where because let me share with you a little bit of my purpose, what I've been kind of like, the thing that I feel at the bottom of my soul of like, why am I here? And what I've been feeling more and more, and it's kind of like just a knowing, is that I'm here to observe and to witness this body, Dom, and my reality, my illusion, I guess, in front of me, like we meaning you, meaning everybody else, and to do it with such a presence and such a sense of here
mm,
and now that like honor and everything. And it really brings back like the last time that I had this altered state of mind with you, I remember being almost like a reflection of you when I think about it. Like just you brought like I don't know how to explain it, but you brought the best of me through your own intention. Like what you were just describing is the knowledge that you brought to me in that altered state of mind by just being you, just your energy, just with our energy colliding together is really, it's crazy. Like your purpose that you just described, you achieve it without even trying, without even knowing. It's like something that, like you say, those three little persons are giving you the space or creating the space for you to totally achieve your goals. So I want to know more about Hinduism. And for example, I want to, if you can,
mm,
my story of being aware, fully aware for my body, for Dom, for this illusion, like to be in presence, 100%, no future, no past. And my ultimate goal is when I die, I want to be, I want to see it so, I want to be there so much at the moment of death that the only thing it, it's like me and God and that moment, and that's my entire destiny. So that I don't go into the other state of rebirth. It's kind
mm,
of like a knowing that I will achieve it, but to get there, my suffering will get greater and greater and greater. And it's going to be important for me to realize that the outside, like you guys, that all of you guys' journey all play a part in my growth. And it's weird. It's not because my purpose is for you guys, and it feels selfish because it's not like I'm here to help, but in a way I will, but I'm here to observe and to witness fully.
mm.
But I need to really take that into like seriousness and honor, and to understand that like even like today when I was going through a hard time because of the shame that I experienced because of a situation, I keep forgetting to go and manipulate my energies with the help of my illusions, which is, you and Katiana, you name it. Like I've got so many people that love me. It'd be my
Mm.
daughter, my wife, and yeah. How is there? Because I don't really know much about Hinduism, but what is that path? Is there like, did I describe a path?
Yeah. Uh, I I'm only researching it like for the last year myself. I don't know if it fits into a path, but I can say that you talked about illusion, right? Uh, so
Yes.
illusion is called Maya. That's the word they use. So yes, that's one way of looking at it, that everything is an illusion. We're all like basically in the mind of God, right? Having a dream. God is having a dream, and then we're all the different characters. So that's
Yeah.
that's what illusion is. But there's another school of theory which says that it's a lila, and lila is a divine play. So it's actually not a dream, but it's it, it's like a well, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? But in the same time, it isn't because they make a distinction that it's not an illusion, it's real, but it's like a cosmic play, and you have to enjoy it. So yes, you'll suffer. It hurts a lot. got so much and you're just ready right now to leave if you could, right? But hey,
Uh,
yeah, you wanted to jump in? You wanted to?
I do, yeah, I do have to elaborate that. In my awareness and in my presence, the suffering is bliss. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but
Hmm,
to me, if I am in the state of honor and I'm fully here and now and I'm being my king, the more suffering I have, the more of a bliss it is. That's the paradox that often I forget to tell people as I'm telling my story is that the suffering,
hmm,
if I am not in a state of honor, it becomes true suffering, like physical pain. But if I am really empowering the witness, the observer, that entire pain turns into a bliss, like a seriously, like a bliss that is
hmm,
unexplainable, and it's so great and it's so beautiful that I could stay in a meditation state forever, but life always brings me back so that I can continue the play of,
yeah,
the play of growing and to get confused. And inside that confusion, there is learning and purpose and growth and sharing of experience. And through my confusion of suffering, I get to also inspire and help other people in my circle to achieve their own goal. And it's not
hmm,
if I set my mind that I want to help others, then it doesn't work. It has to be in a sense of pure witness, honor, and observing kind of the illusion, or like you say, the cosmic play. That touches me on so many levels. What you just said.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And I also wanted to say though that you do help others. Well, at least me, you do, because you're talking about how I helped you or whatever during like when we had the altered state of consciousness. But the truth is you
Yeah.
helped me as well because like at that time like like I I just felt you're so gracious, and that's such an awesome quality, and it takes so much for granted, man. So I just I wanted to thank you because it was because I mean
Oh,
that is what it is. You don't have to dress it up, but you just at the end of the day you have to someone is to raise their hands up and say, okay, I'll watch, I'll host or whatever, I'll do this, and then but it often doesn't get talked about. I feel like this aspect of society because there are not that many leaders. There are only a few. So it's when you said about helping others, I think it's very true, and I'm sure that's part of your purpose as well. Uh, I'm not able to
100%.
articulate this part actually. What I wanted to say, it's kind of because it sounds so basic, right? But it's actually very important. It's very very
No,
important for people to do that.
it
So it
is.
was just I wanted to thank you. And yeah, I had some other stuff to say, but I lost my track of thought. Like whatever the last conversation we were on before this, just this one. Like
We were talking about paths. So if you can, I want you to explain your path when it comes to what you've learned into your religion, like your path that you're on right
mhm.
now into, um,
Yeah,
yeah, where does
sure,
it
I'll
fit?
do that. And oh, I got it back by the way. Thanks. So I got it back. So it was when you said though that sometimes like when you're in meditation and stuff, you're in bliss, but then life takes you back. Well, I mean, that's very practical in Hinduism. Like, that's why, whichever path you choose, they always recommend that you be disciplined. You have a routine. Like, you take one shower every single day, no matter what. And you do like 30 minutes of meditation in order to have a great rest of the day as well, carrying on that, like, just soaking in that good energy. So, and, uh, and okay, so that's a little bit about that, but about my path, right? So, uh, there are many deities in Hinduism, and contrary to what people believe, they're not archetypes like Carl Jung would say, like this. It's just your own creation. It could be. I'm open to that. I'm a very open person. Always think about stuff, but in the strictest sense of the word, no. It's the deities are very real, man. and they all have their own mantras, which you and if you chant them, if you chant those mantras, you can connect to them, but you have to be very sincere and you have to know your goal. So here's the part where you need a goal because different deities have different goals. For me, Lord Rama is the perfect example who walked on this earth because he had all the right cards. Because in my life, sometimes I tend to judge others who are like better off than me or whatever, like who just had a better childhood. I've right now I don't, but previously I used to do a lot. But yeah, I know that that's actually not good because hey, they didn't ask for it. They also people are just given cards, right? They're given different cards. So for Lord Rama, he was actually given a really good
Yeah.
card, but despite of that he had so many like negative uh like things didn't go his way at all, despite being like born to a royal family. He got turned away. He was forced into exile. Then he took his wife. Then his wife was kidnapped. He fought so hard to bring her back, but then he went back to his homeland. Then people spread rumors about, like his wife not being faithful. So imagine a guy like that, a living god, the eighth or seventh reincarnation of Vishnu himself, I believe. So, and still having to go through all these human things. It just makes me so mad. Like, but hey, did it make him mad? No, not one drop. Every single thing he did was with honor. And so to me, worshiping Rama is like giving honor to your life that no matter what happens, the good and the bad, I'm just I'm just having a ball over here. Like, thank you, Laura. Like just manifesting me. Because to me, whatever it's illusion or whether it's a cosmic play, either of those, I'm just happy to be here and I'm gonna honor every experience. So that's why I chose the path of like Lord Rama, and I say his name. There are multiple like melodies you can use. You can say it, but to keep it very simple, you can just chant his name over and over again. Ram, Ram, Ram. You could do that, and that's what I
Well,
do at least. So
you're
yeah.
blowing my mind. Yeah, I've got a journal that when I went to Peru and I filled it up pretty fast when I came back. And at the end, I don't know what took over me, but I didn't even know about like what you're talking about. And all over the front page, the back page, I wrote Ram, Ram, Ram,
Oh
Ram,
man.
Ram, Ram, Ram. And I just went in a zone of just writing that. And I still have it, it's right beside me. And yeah, the journal, it's like, and I was going through such a profound, I was such a profound learning between me and my wife because growing well anyways the point is my relationship needed a lot of work and I was looking at it a lot at the time and I'm still looking at it. um, that's amazing and you're blowing my mind on so many
Hey, I
levels.
can't believe you waited that long to tell me. That's so awesome, man. I never knew that. And yeah, people do that. It's called Ram Nam. They'll fill up the whole notebook just writing Ram over and over again. And that also brings concentration. Like if you it's similar. It's a science behind it actually. Because it's actually super hard when you meditate to think of nothing, right? You need to think of something, whatever that thing is. That's like the next
Um,
best thing you can do. So for
yeah,
people, so that's why they use the
sure.
name Ram. And the Ra is supposed to be like from the
Yeah,
sun, like the sun energy, and the Ma is supposed to be from the moon, the female energy. And so it has like everything you need from a god is in the name Ram. And so that's why you're supposed that's the science behind it.
dude.
Yeah.
But on top of that, what you just said is that during that time when I was writing the Ram Ram Ram, that's when I became silent mind. That's where, like when you just said, like it's very difficult to meditate and not think of anything. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not like hmm, I want to be honorable, and that is just the honor of it. Is that I've got the ability now to, and it's crazy that I was writing that at that time too, that I've got the ability to be silent mind, just like when we were doing the integration circle. I can,
Hmm.
I was like during the entire time when I had my eyes closed, I was giving the complete space without interruption in my mind to the sound of the people's soul when they were
Whoa.
talking or when they, and I was just giving it space. And like it's amazing that it's funny how I'm looking, and that's what I was explaining. Sorry, my words are kind of jumbled because I'm getting emotional. Is
Mm,
the idea that like at the beginning, it's like, oh, I'm looking for that other, right, to come and give me space when
mm,
it's there in my illusion. I don't need an altered state of mind. It's happening as I'm doing this play in a way. Like you're the one that is showing me that, hey, you've been doing it all along, and don't look for others when you know that everything in front of you is you, your illusion, your you. Yeah, I don't know, like it's just so profound the way you're talking
yeah,
right now.
I yeah,
Oh wow.
and it's man, it's it's hard to kind of like put words to these things, but yeah, I
Yeah, of
totally
course.
understand. And yeah, oh yeah, I remember now what I wanted to say. Like I've been struggling with ego, man, a lot. Like what you just said right now. And you're actually one of the people who helped me, like who said that it's fine. Uh, if you remember or not, I don't know. Like you told me that sometimes you don't have to say anything. People will say the things you you want to say, even though you might have like 100 ideas. But if you just sit back and someone eventually does speak, and it might not be like 100% of the way, but it's like 70%. That's good enough for you because you know all the outcomes anyway in that state. Like you know, in the end, it doesn't matter. It all merges back. It doesn't. It's meaningless. But and yet you have this urge, like I want to contribute like this much or this little. Like I want to, but actually, to be honest, it's not needed. It's much more beneficial if you just become the observer. And but hey, man, but I wanted to actually talk about that. I've been struggling with that a lot. I've been judging people who uh people who like who go to therapists and who also do, who experiment with these plant medicines and stuff. Like I just feel like, man, that's a lot of help. And yet like I hear complaints, and that's my bad, by the way. Like so that's on me. Like something is wrong with me. Like why am I judging? It's even I might be in a blissful state, whatever, but who am I? Like who the fuck am I? Like I'm still, in the end of the day, I'm not my lord. Like it's Ram. It's not. I'm not him. So why am I? Why? Who gave me the right to be so angry? At others and stuff. So this is something lately I've been kind of meditating on, and it's not pretty. Like it sucks, man, because uh I try to be honest. So that's the only reason I say it. But that is the feeling I have. Maybe it's just a pattern, like OCD. Like previously, growing up, I used to judge rich folks, and now I judge people who get therapy. It's always like judging, and so I've been working on this. Just wanted to share that. So wish me luck, man. I'll keep working.
Well, wait. The what I want to say about that, as I was giving you space to elaborate, the thing that it was coming into me from my reflection of this is that lately what I've been doing is I've been blaming others for my frustration or for my sadness. And when you were speaking, the question that arises is, as we're talking right now, as we're doing, as with all of your friends, your passion to teach or to, well, not necessarily teach, but to share to the world the knowledge that you are acquiring through these altered state of mind, but even more than that, just by the space that you're being given by those three spirits to the
Mm,
love that is just innate inside of your soul, like the Rahat that I know, like the when I saw you in that altered state of mind that night, is I saw you as a pure God. Like when you were talking about a reincarnation of Ram, I feel like you are in a way a reincarnation of Ram. Like I saw you as a warrior. Like it was such a powerful, honorable, full of love warrior that just wanted to understand and to continue his journey into like growth and learning. Like I could see it in your forehead, in your face, that you are so curious. You are so full of passion when it comes to the curiosity of the soul and the growth. When we are doing these things, and as you're doing these things, do you think that it's hard to ask in a question, but do you think that the judgment right now
Mm,
that you are doing upon
mm.
others when it comes to therapists and everything is the same judgment that you're doing to yourself, and like the a next step in your evolution to allow yourself to surrender to you teaching others, you becoming some sort of a, like you are to me, and like a, in a way, a therapist, a psychologist, but because their job, and well, what do you feel about what I just
Uh, well, there are some real problems with this if I were to take that approach because people want to be heard,
yes,
just like those three guys. They're listening to me, and imagine how good that made me feel, right? So I'm sure anyone who wants to share,
yes,
you know, even if it may be something like totally make it into a lifestyle, you know, like with the plant medicines or whatever. Like, yeah, I'm gonna you could just make this dish, make this cuisine or whatever with this. Just totally make it into removing the spirituality aspect of it and just make it into a lifestyle. Even if they choose to do that, I still have to be the observer. You see, I can't butt my head in and uh, yeah. So that's
a
why
hundred
that's
percent.
why I can't because maybe in a different setting. Maybe that's not the right setting, perhaps, not in an integration circle. Maybe if we become friends in real life or whatever, I could, drop these things. And but uh but yeah,
But like I was saying earlier,
no, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt, but like we were saying earlier, like you know for a fact that by you doing the wrong way and to give 100% space to another, by just your intention of like what you want to share, it will arise in the other as they're talking to you, as they're opening up to, and even if you think like it's not going to lead to, you know that it's going to surprise you and rom like the wrong way. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but the space that you give to another. So I think the like the animosity
Mhm.
that you're feeling towards those psychologists and therapists, that the idea that like they have a an agenda behind, they're not giving the proper space that is required to really do the proper healing in others the way that you're gonna take the approach. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I totally agree. But it just made me think of something that uh I talked about being able to have these conversations with friends, right? So I actually do that. So I've tried that and I do that. But from my experience, it becomes very boring if we ever do this type of thing. So then we go back to kind of living the cosmic play, which is fine, by the way. Like you'll be surprised, man. I know we were friends, but there's still so much things we haven't talked about. Like I have so many other interests and stuff, and I tend to do that like in my own timer. Sometimes I'll, like when going out and stuff. But other than that, so I mean, so those things are really interesting too, is what I'm saying. So it's kind of fun to be like in the play or in the illusion. And I think it's the balance which makes it so cool. Like
Yes.
anytime you need a break or something, you need to kind of release or whatever, you can always start from ground zero and just tell yourself that that nothing actually matters at all. Like nothing, everything's an illusion. Like you just should be happy, and then you can start. Then it makes sense to have those conversations. But if I always do those, like if I make it my agenda or whatever, then I like in the past, what I've seen is that the conversation tends to become like kind of boring and it just doesn't give off like a good energy. And because people like to be happy too, right? In the end of the day. And by the way, funny. So
Yes.
in this integration circles, I also feel like doing that sometimes because lately, like in the past integration circles, I feel like the mood has been really down, and I kind of want to come in and just like say like talk about some of the other more like energetic experiences, but uh just to liven things up, and maybe I'll do that. But the stories are good though, so I have to like because yeah, the recently they've been really superb and everything. But but I mean, but it's like you said, like through the intentions, everything comes into full circle. That's the thing about Hinduism. Like we don't think like time is linear. We think it's cyclical. So I'm hoping a month
Yeah.
from now, maybe every single person in the integration circle will have an awesome, energetic story to say instead of a sad one. That's my hope. Yeah, yeah,
Of
and
course,
that'll just happen naturally. Yeah,
of course. Now, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and it brings it back to the beginning. It's like really creating like the knowledge that you want to spread. Maybe I'm not like explaining your journey, as best as you feel it, but like having practices, like really daily practices, but you didn't call them practices. You called them
oh, I did.
how did you call
Uh, Routine,
them?
schedule.
Well,
W- What word did I use?
well, like to have a, well, I don't remember, but anyways, having like daily practices that will make it so that with honor, like taking a shower to, and the other ones that were coming up for me is the practice of, I've got a practice of meditation where I go back in my past and I just go and give a hug to my previous selves. Like it'd be me 2 days ago that I fucked up, or me 10 years ago where I needed a hug because I got
Mm,
beaten up by bullies, or, where just having daily practices that makes it so that you can continue your journey with honor, to really bring honor in, and to do this type of practice like what we're doing tonight, like sharing an experience with friends. This is something that is
mm.
so important that I need to, not need, but I feel like I've been called to schedule, to really take the time to do it, because I tend to, I guess, I don't know, like go and self-pity, uh, play with my ego, not play with my ego, but let the ego drive.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
No, no, I totally understand.
yeah,
Which is why we need leaders like you. I think so to make this happen because yeah, like I too feel like too many people are not talking to their friends and talking to their therapists instead. Those that they have them. So and I think there's a lot of room, a lot of space here for like a revolution to occur. And it's actually kind of happening already if you see now. Like there's people who are so much talking about these plant medicines and stuff. So it's kind of happening right before our eyes. But yeah, what you said about the ego is so true. Like it kind of sucks, but sometimes having two beers makes me a nicer person, you know? And it shouldn't be that. I shouldn't, my senses that doesn't have to be dulled to make my ego drop. It should just happen naturally, which means I'm not like uh not there yet. But hey, but that's fine too, because I do that with honor.
but
Like that's fine. That is my journey. I have to honor it.
yeah, but that's what resonates with me, and that's the thing that you taught me in this conversation is it's okay to be with your ego, but are you gonna let the ego drive, or are you gonna have practices to, kind of be with your ego in a state like where it's more controlled, like to do these practices, to do the ram ram ram, to do the chanting. And when you do the chantings, often I get confused, like, oh, this is only my soul self, but that's not true. Like you're bringing your ego for a journey, an experience with your soul. So those practices of just,
Yeah, man.
like a schedule, like you say, it's I need to think about it more as me bringing my ego into this journey and being like, it's going to be a lot more fun to do this in honor of Ram, or let's go and do the practice of sending some love to your wife, at least like,
Mm.
10 minutes like you plan it, and then that way you're training your ego to be one with your soul, and to to have fun within this play, to have fun in this journey, like to like you say, sometimes, to take the time to go and maybe take that 10 minutes a day to see if there
Yeah,
is anything to cry about, so that way you get that that wall out of the way, but you don't stay there all day, you don't let it ride you all day.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, man.
remember what you said that God's plan is perfect. So it's like so so this is what I
Yes.
tell myself, that how can I be mad? How can I ever have like doubts or or fear? I mean, I can, of course, and I do, but there's a better way, and it's okay to say there is. It's because New Age has brought in a lot of relativism. Like, yeah, everything is fine. But if you
Yeah.
know within yourself that everything is not fine, there could be a better version of yourself, and you know you can reach that state with certain practices and stuff, then why not? What's wrong in doing that? I'm not thinking I'm preaching or anything, because it's
Yeah.
working for me. So it's like you know, it's it's something to think about. Yeah.
But the thing I love about what you're saying right now too is it's not like you're ignoring the idea that you're sad or you've got, trauma in the past. You are looking at it straight on and saying, yeah, yeah, I know you've got all of this and I see you. It's good, but let's go do this honor thing. Let's do this practice. It's really like, as I don't want people
Mm.
to get confused, that because often the thing that's been confusing me that you're making me realize is that I feel like I'm not there for my ego, for my body. Like, it has trauma, right? It has pain. And when I put those pain aside and I say, no, 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 you shouldn't have this pain because I know better. I'm wise now. I know all of this knowledge. It creates, it gets harder. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's a paradox. You need to bring both at the same time, not just. So I understand where you're coming from. I see it. I don't want other people to get confused. Like, I know where you're coming from. Like, you are not blocking these trauma and saying, no, 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 I know better. Like,
Oh
you're
yeah,
really bringing
totally,
it with you.
totally.
You know what
Uh,
I mean?
it
Yeah,
just
that's
reminded me
important.
of I made it a point. Sometimes you just feel kind of like vulnerable all of a sudden. I don't know if you ever get that, like just anxiety, I guess.
Of course. Oh yeah.
So I made it a point. I wanted to do this experiment. The next time it happens, I'm gonna observe it. I'm gonna remind myself. I'm not gonna get caught up in it. I'm just gonna meditate on it. I'm just gonna look at, like, it's like looking back at a tiger. Like, it looks at you, it's gonna eat you, but you stare right back at it. So as I was doing this
Yes.
though, believe it or not, it disappeared. Like, it goes away by itself. You don't have, it's like it has no power at all. So I'm not ignoring it. So it's exactly what you said. I'm not
Exactly.
blocking it out. I'm facing it. I'm facing that motherfucker. I'm choosing to face that. You know, and I'm facing it with joy, by the way, because it's all God doing it. And at the end of the day, we're
And
not in control of anything. It's all God's dream. So if he wants to give me this, like, whatever, this sense of anxiety or whatever, I'm gonna have fun with it as best as I can. Yeah.
dude, that touches me to the exact. I've I have difficulty doing that when that sense of sadness comes over me, or that sense of self-pity, especially the self-pity. Why me? Why me? When I look at it, I get lost into it instead of having fun with it.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep your archetype, your vision, or man, you're a god. Like, never, and that idea as well of having your gods to be outside,
Yeah.
like something greater. It's not just an archetype like the color Jung, but yeah, I, I understand. It's something more. Like, you are something more than just an archetype to me. And that realization right now is amazing. Yo, Rahat, thank you so much for coming on my podcast tonight. It's you I hope you're going to be able to come back because I've got so many questions. But I feel like 1 hour. How do you feel? Did you want to have any
Yeah, I
closing
just wanted to
statements
thank you
or?
though. We're just 1 hour flew by so fast, and we touched on like so many different topics. And to be perfectly honest with you, like, you're asking some really good questions, and I just there's just so much left to talk about, and I'm sure we'll do that in the future. But this is such an awesome platform that you've created, And by the way, this is a practice too. So I hope you keep doing it, doing this practice and honoring this practice of making the podcast. So yeah.
Ram, 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 ram. Monkey and food for life, my friend. Oh, thank you so much, Rahat. I love you with all my heart. And you guys out there, I love you guys
See you,
too.
Doe. Thanks
Monkey and
again.
Frank for life.
Jay Shri Ram. Bye bye.
See you.